want. Well. What's good, everybody, on this glorious Sunday? To God be the glory, to God be the glory. I'm with you another Sunday. Here we go. This is CDK Sports Talk Network, and we're going to get right into it, man. We're going to get right into it. The talk should be over. The hate, the despair, the always got something bad to say about Mr. Jaron Boots Ennis. Let it all in, or take it in. Because you seen the best 147-pound fighter last night, and Boots did his thing. The fight went like I thought it would go. I figured Boots was going to stop him. I won good money last night. I picked the fight not to go the distance. It was even plus money on Boots on the knockout. Why? I don't know. But I knew Boots was going to be sharp, man. He's too athletic, too gifted, just too good, you know what I'm saying, for anybody of that nature to get in there and have a real shot. Now, we seen Boots in 2 fights with Curran. Let this be a lesson that styles make fight, folks. Let this be a lesson to you and everybody else. Just because Boots didn't look as good as you wanted him to against Curran, it didn't mean anything. It just tells me that Curran is a different type of fighter. He's a much better fighter than people thought. And guess what happened? Boots showed up and showed out. Man, we've been knowing for a long time that Boots is the best at 147 pounds. People have wanted Boots to go up in weight. You know what I'm saying? People have wanted Boots to go to 154. But, Boots done what he wanted to do. He stayed at 147. He's on a mission. You know what I'm saying? If he would have done it, if Boots would have went to 154, he wouldn't have had the opportunity he had last night. I don't want to hear talk about 154 anymore. Let this young man live his dreams. Let him do what he wants to do. Let him accomplish his goal of being undisputed at 147 pounds. But let the talk be over about how good Jaron Boots Ennis is. Because he showed you last night against the second best welterweight in the division. I'll say it again. He showed you last night against the second best welterweight in the division, and he made it look easy. So when we seen him face Curran, we seen, Curran's style caused a few problems. Nothing really major. Boots won every round. But people were talking like, hey, man, Boots might not be what people think he is. Man, the eye test don't mean nothing. Well, I'm going to say this right here, and I'm going to say it good, and I'm going to say it well. My eyes ain't failed me yet. My eye test has been great for a long time now. My eye test has been so good that I walked away with some nice amount of money last night with Boots Ennis in the UFC. Shout out to both, man. The UFC showed up for me, and Boots Ennis showed up for me. Now, I don't want to hear about Brian Norman Jr. fighting nobody else. I like the young man. It's him and Boots time. There ain't time for nothing else. Mario Barrios is over here talking about he want to face Manny Pacquiao. We're going to run on over there, Mario, and take on the old man, Manny Pacquiao. Do whatever you do with him. But we need Boots and Brian Norman to get in the ring next, and we need these guys to handle business. It's time for Boots, man. It's Boots time. I don't care what nobody say. Ain't nobody at 147 pounds beating Jaron Boots Ennis. Boots came forward and said, man, the media talk too much and don't know what they're talking about. He said people talking about he had problems making 147 pounds. Boots said he made weight on Tuesday, folks. On Tuesday, he was ready to go. So whatever this talking nonsense is about him having problems making weight, he's weight drained and all that, he didn't look weight drained to me last night. Matter of fact, when him and Stanionis weighed in, Stanionis weighed a little more than Boots. You know what I'm saying? Not much, but he outweighed Boots a little bit when they weighed in. So I don't believe that Boots, at 27 years old, is having a problem making weight. People want him to have a problem making weight. And the only thing going to beat Boots is if he run into a problem where he's weight drained. Because other than that, man, I watched what I seen last night, and I don't care who it is, man. Nobody at 147, to me, really stands a good chance. Now, when we get talking about 154, that's where the competition starts. That's when Boots will be tested. But it won't happen at 147 pounds. We've heard all the talk, he's dirty. I ain't see one low blow last night. I might have missed one. I was on that Don Julio. I might have missed a low blow. Maybe. But what I'm saying is this right here. Boots is showing you, man, that he has many styles. If he wants to box, he can box. But he also got that Philly mentality that when he want to go to war, he'll go to war. And ain't nothing you can do about it. Man, salute, man. Mr. Jannar, here's a salute. He said CDK, Boots, Brian Norman Jr., 20. Hold on one second. Let me put this up here. He says CDK salute. Boots versus Brian Norman Jr., 25-26. ASAP. No more excuses. Both fighters are coming off an A+ performance. TKO both of their opponents. Quitting the corner. Barrios hasn't been active enough. I agree 100% with you. It's time for the fight. No more excuses. Now, we hear Boots. I ain't heard Boots do a lot of talking. But last night, Boots had a lot to say, folks. Boots stepped up and said this right here. What type of person, this comes from Boots, not me. He said, what type of person turns down $2 million? So evidently the fight could have been made. The way they're talking last night, Eddie Hearn and them, and what they're saying, I'm going off what they're saying. The fight could have been made. Boots said that he turned down $2 million to go make $150,000 and be on somebody's undercard. This came from Jerron Boots in his mouth, not mine, folks. I'm just quoting verbatim what he had to say last night. Boots feels some type of way about that. Boots said, man, for a long time now, they have been using my name for clout. They have been using my name to make a name for themselves, and he wants to put an end to it. So the only way we can put an end to this is for them to fight. There can't be no fight with no guy in Japan. No, that fight don't make sense. Brian Norman has no business fighting nobody else right now but Jerron Boots Ennis. And I can guarantee this right here, Jerron Boots Ennis wants that fight next. He wants it. Ain't no doubt in my mind what was going to happen. You hear what Bozy Ennis had to say. Bozy said, man, we've had him in spawn plenty of times and made it look easy in spawn with no problem. I know it's just spawn. But we know sometimes spawn can tell you a whole lot about how a fight's going to go. Especially when that person you're spawn is the person you're going to be fighting. That's why we see so many people willing to step in the ring with, the Lamont Roaches of the world, knowing how Tank Davis go and his fight was gonna go, saying that he's been in there with Tank and been knowing Tank a long time. Sometimes people just got your number or they know who you are, and that's what I think it is with Boots, man. Boots wants Brian Norman. There ain't no reason for no more bunch of this what Boots called it. They've been on a tour. He said they've been on a YouTube tour basically. They've been going from podcast to podcast, talking, using my name. He said, well, now all that should be over with. Now it's time to put up a shut up, and I think we all want to see it. I don't care. Like he said, Mario Barrios has been inactive for a while. You know what I'm saying? Well, he did fight. I forgot who Mario Barrios fought. Let me take that back. He had a fight. And it was lackluster. It wasn't a good performance on Mario Barrios' part. It didn't look anything like he could beat a Brian Norman. It didn't look like he could beat a Jerron Boots Ennis. So that belt is just hanging in the air for whenever one of these guys want to take it. So I feel like these guys should go ahead and fight. And the winner of that, go over there and take that belt from Mario. Because I think that's going to be an easy task for either one of those gentlemen. I think Brian Norman or Boots makes light work of Mario Barrios, whether people want to hear it or not. So let's see how it plays out, man. We got to see how that plays out. I definitely believe that Boots is ready, you know what I'm saying, to get the belts. And I do want to see Boots take on a Virgil Ortiz. I do want Boots to have the opportunity to take on the Tim Tszyu or Fundora, man, at 154. I want to see how Boots fares against the elite of the elite. Because that's where the competition at 154 holds the keys to what Boots Ennis is going to really be. And what I'm saying is, man, he's already, in my mind, a wonderful and elite fighter. But I think 154, man, can bring the best out of him. And if we know anything about Boots, man, now, Boots got a chin on him. He can take a punch. And when he realizes that you can't hurt him, you in trouble. Once Boots feels your power and realizes you have nothing to offer, you are going to be in real trouble. And that's what happened last night with Stanionis. He hit him a few times, Boots. You can see. He picked it up. He picked up the pace. He started really, you know what I'm saying, laying down the lumber. Body shot out the body shop. You know what I'm saying? Body shot. And I ain't going to say Stanionis quit. I don't know what went on in the corner, but it seems to me like maybe he quit. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But nonetheless, you know what I'm saying, he didn't make it back out. And a lot of people are happy he didn't make it back out because it was nice money on the odds of 1 through 6 rounds. So he didn't make the 7th round bail, you know what I'm saying? So it ended in the 6th round, actually. He didn't make it to the 7th round. And I bet on like I said, I bet on the fight not to go the distance. I also took I forgot, but I had a nice UFC card and I was playing around. Didn't put a lot of money on it, you know what I'm saying, thinking that the UFC wasn't going to come through for me. But the UFC actually did, the fights I picked on the UFC actually did win. So I ain't win number like $300-something. You know what I'm saying? He said, if Boots, hold on one second again. Mr. Janard said, if Boots and Norman Jr. really want to make a power move, they could push a trilogy to smoke Barrios out. Man, that definitely would be a good move. The thing about Barrios though, I don't think Barrios is one of those guys, man. He's one of those guys that ain't really, I don't think really scared. I think that from what I heard, Boots had already got the contract signed with Kern, but Barrios never was trying to make the fight, but it was too late. So if that's true, I think Barrios will be willing to get in there with Boots or Brian Norman, even though he gets beat silly by either one of those guys. But I believe that fight could possibly happen. I believe the Barrios will make that fight real quick with any one of those guys. And I definitely want to see, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't want to see nothing else at 147 but Boots and Brian Norman. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. I've heard Brian Norman say something about a guy from Japan that I know nothing about and about a nice bag of money. But I can tell you now, I don't see that being $2 million worth of money. I don't. He said it's people on social media that are pushing Teofimo versus Boots because he has a mandatory bet at 140, and Eddie is talking about Boots versus Bud on the ring. Yeah, I seen that. And I'm gonna tell you this right here. Teofimo Lopez really don't want that fight with Jaron Boots in it. And it doesn't make sense for Teo, and it doesn't make sense for Boots. Even though I don't like a lot of the stuff Teofimo does, I don't think that fight, you know what I'm saying, makes sense. Teofimo had a lot of fights at 140. He got plenty of problems at 140, if you think about it. Man, 140, that division is loaded. We got Gary Antoine Russell down there. We see what he just done. You know what I'm saying? He looked phenomenal. You got Ryo, you know what I'm saying? He's down there. We seen him just take a loss to Gary. There are fighters down there at 140 that even Pitbull. I ain't no big Pitbull fan, but if Teofimo wants a fight, he can get a fight down there. The other champions at 140 pounds are waiting, you know what I'm saying, in the background. Cerebral Matias is down there. There are guys down there, man, that he could be fighting right now and not even mentioning Boots' name. So sometimes when he talks about Boots, I don't think the Teofimo goes up to 147. Also, we've seen Teo at 140. The power did not translate. As Teo has gone up in weight, the power hasn't went with him. Teo hasn't had a real knockout in a long time. You know what I'm saying? Richard Hitchison had a belt also. Yes, sir, he do. And I thought him and Africa were gonna fight. I was hoping for that fight. You know what I'm saying? I definitely was hoping that him and they will take care of business, but they didn't. You know what I'm saying? And we see now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Richard Hitchison said it was a messed up pay. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to take that pay, and I'm hoping that's really what it was. I hope he just didn't, back out of the fight to be bagging out. But I would be interested in seeing that fight. I think that would be a phenomenal fight between those two. I didn't like Africa at first. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. But as I've been watching Africa can actually box, man. You know what I'm saying? He can box. He has nice skills. You know what I'm saying? He does things well, and I definitely would love to see how that fight plays out. But I feel like right now at 140, and I continue to say it, is Gary Antoine Russell. And Gary Antoine Russell is a man that beat Jaron Boots in the amateurs. And I don't know, the amateurs, man, crushed the mother Mickey legend. I'm going to say it like that, Crush the mother Mickey legend in the building. Listen, people have been, I'm just happy that Boots done what he done last night. I heard, Brian Norman Sr., shout out to him going on the channel and said that it would be a controversial decision. And we know we never seen Boots in a controversial type of fight anywhere where the fight was so close that we thought Boots lost. And it didn't play out like that. It's only so long that you can hate on somebody's skills or say or not give them their credit. Because just like David Benavidez has been taking heels in the ring, so is Boots now. People are starting to have problems with hating on Boots. How can you keep hating when the man continues to win? He continues to show up and show out. And now he did what you people said was impossible almost. He ain't gonna stop Stanionis. He can't stop him. Boots stopped him. Made it look easy last night. He supposed to be the number 2 ranked welterweight, is what everybody been saying. I've been hearing it over and over. I've heard everybody say, no, he better than Brian Norman. Stanionis is main number 2. It's him and Boots. This is 1 and 2, 1 and 2. I don't want to hear nobody come up here this morning or go on another channel. Somebody talking about, Stanionis wasn't that good. I want Boots to get full credit for his victory. Don't try to cheat the man. Don't try to rob the man. Don't start the shenanigans. Give him credit. Y'all gave Brian Norman Jr. credit, and he fought a guy that a lot of people did not know. And shout out to Brian Norman Jr. That was a phenomenal fight. Great fight. But what I'm saying is he got full credit for that victory. So let's give Boots the same credit. I heard different rumors, people trying to make up rumors already. I won't even throw the one rumor out there, just ridiculous. But let's don't start no rumor mill. And I hate that, man. I've hated for so long when people will take your name and step on it and try to throw it in the mud or in the dirt. When they can't beat you at your own game, when they know that they realize that you ain't gonna lose in the ring, they start other stuff. Boots was taking supplements. Boots was doing this. Boots was doing that. No, Boot was putting Boot to ass. That's what Boot's been doing, putting Boots to ass. And he been doing it well for a long time. So stop hating on the man and congratulate. And tell your favorite fighter or tell your guy that Boots is waiting. Boots is at 147. He want all the smoke. And he believes he the best, and I believe he the best. I ain't gonna tell no lie. I don't see nobody beating him at 147. I don't just know what game plan they can come up with. He got a cast iron chin. He's starting to look like he got one of them, I ain't gonna just say it yet. Canelo Alvarez got one of them all-time great chins. But Boot can actually take a punch. And like I said, when Boots realizes you can't hurt him, what does he do? Man, he gonna step on you. And Boots stepped on Stanionis last night. You had people cheering, man, for Stanionis, hoping Boots lose. And another thing we're starting to realize too, Boots can sell out a fight, folks. People are having problems these days and times putting behinds in seats. Well, this is 3 fights in a row. 2 of them in Philly, 1 in Atlantic City, and Boots showed up, and the people showed up 10,000 strong last night. Mr. Jannar said, I thought it was going to be tough because of the problems Boots had with Gary Russell and his pressure style. Boots has evolved since then as a fighter. Boots has been doing good with pressure. Yes, sir, indeed. When it comes to pressure, though, I think Gary Antoine Russell is second to none as a pressure fighter. I love that style of pressure because the difference between Stanionis and Gary Antoine Russell is athletic with his pressure. See, if you notice that when Boots was moving, all he was really doing Stanionis was realizing he ain't no athlete. And if I just move enough, it's going to offset him every time. Make him take 2 steps to my 1. And I watched it. I was watching the footwork, man. I do a lot of I paid attention to the footwork. And I seen where Stanionis' problem lies. He's not athletic. Well, Gary Antoine Russell, he's a lot more athletic, you know what I'm saying, and able to move around and do a lot of things differently. And you're right, Boots has definitely evolved, though. Boots has learned how, fighting Gary Antoine Russell in the amateurs probably prepared Boots even more for fighting of this style. Because that person's style of fighting, man, if a person can do it great, man, it is hard to deal with. And that's why I think that Gary Antoine Russell is going to be always a tough fight or a tough out for anybody. Especially if you can't hurt him, because Gary Antoine Russell seems like he got a nice chin too. So if you can't hurt him or make him respect you, he one of them guys. He gonna run over you like a lawnmower. He gonna run straight over top of you just like you grass, and that's what he does, man. And Gary Antoine Russell is now him and Boots, man. 140, Gary Antoine Russell, my favorite fighter. 147 is Mr. Jerron Boots Ennis. Those are my 2 favorite guys right there at 147 and 140, man. And they making a name for themselves. And it's just a strong possibility. And it would be a great treat that maybe these guys in the future meet up. It ain't far-fetched. Gary Antoine Russell is a big 140, a very big 140. Jerron Boots Ennis is a big 147. But, man, I truly believe, man, that they can meet up somewhere. They can meet up at 147 or maybe 154. I don't think if Boots actually gets those other belts, I don't think he sticks around too much longer after that. I think the goal is to become undisputed and then to move on to 154 and conquer that division. And I think that's what we're going to see. I think it's like Eddie Hearn said, Boots is going to be, when it's all said and done, at the end of his career, we're going to see Boots wind up at 160 pounds. And I believe Boots becomes a champion at 154. I believe he becomes a champion at 160. Boots has great talent. And now, the more I think about it, the more I realize I would love to have seen Jerron Boots Ennis versus Bud Crawford. I would have loved that fight. Is it far-fetched to believe that if a guy like Madrimov was able to give Bud a few problems, that Boots couldn't give him problems too? Why is that so hard for people to believe? I don't understand that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. He said Boots took away Stanionis' jab. Also, that jab was his bread and butter, my fault. But he didn't throw the jab consistently like in prior fights. Boots kept Stanionis' punch output low. Yes, he did, man. Hey, you breaking it down. I can't lie. I thought the same thing. Stanionis has one of the best jabs in boxing. and Boots basically took it away from him. He threw it a few times, but he don't throw it like he usually let that jab go. Stanionis, man, don't use his jab as a rangefinder. He uses his jab as a weapon. Stanionis' jab is a real weapon, and last night we seen that weapon. You know, hey, man, when a man take your gun from you, basically what Boots did was take the clip out that man's gun. He took the clip out the gun and left him defenseless. And that's why Stanionis had to quit over there. And had he not, you know what I'm saying, had he made it back out to the 7th round, he would have got stopped before the 10. You know, the over and under was 10.5 rounds. Stanionis would not have made, he would not have made it to the 10th round, folks. Ain't no way he would have made it. And I'm going to tell y'all this. If Brian Norman and Boots fight, that fight ain't going the distance. But I'm starting to believe the problem's going to be for Brian Norman Jr. is this. Even though he has great power, I don't see the skill set. I don't see the movement, the athleticism that Boots has. I don't think he has that. And this is another problem. I believe Boots can take his punch, but I don't think he can take Boots. See, Brian Norman Jr. has great power, but his chin has been tested. He has been rocked. And I believe a guy like Boots is able to get him in there and get him out of there. Get him in there and get him out of there. Fold him like a lawn chair. It will happen, folks. I hate to say it, it will happen. You know what I'm saying? They gonna fight. Boots gonna fold him like a lawn chair. We're gonna hear a bunch of crying. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of people gonna be mad. Feelings gonna be hurt. But it is what it is. And I wish my brother BVO was here this morning so I could have a long chat with him. I don't know what he's doing. He's somewhere probably stealing some car rims. But nonetheless, whenever he gets done stealing car rims, I'm gonna have a long talk with BVO. Let me see if he done stealing car rims. Maybe I can get him on here. Let me see. Let me talk right quick. BVO. Come on, my lad. Let the rims go. I'm just playing y'all too. Yeah. Okay, let me get back to business, man. I text BVO, wanted to see if I can get him here. You know, I just really wanted to see what people think about this, whether or not Brian Norman should. Well, I know everybody feels like he should take the fight with Boots next. I don't think there should be any questions. You know, Brian Norman had an injury. He came back. He got a real tune-up fight. So now the fight in Japan makes no sense. Maybe they're trying to use that as a bargaining chip by saying that this guy has all that money over there. They're offering them this and that. But I don't see anyone outside of Eddie Hearn offering Brian Norman more than $2 million for a fight. Now, they wanted, I guess, the purse got up to $2 million. I see it getting up to 2.5 maybe. Brian Norman might get lucky. You know what I'm saying? Junior might make $3 million. Because I believe Boots wants to fight so bad that he's going to be willing to basically say, hey, man, I'll take a pay cut to get him in the ring. I believe that's how bad Boots really wants Brian Norman. You know what I'm saying? I think he wants Brian Norman, you know what I'm saying, that bad. And, you know, Brian Norman's only 23, 24 years old. He's still a young man. People have been talking about how much he's accomplished. I heard him talking about what he's done at 23 and Boots wasn't able to do. Well, listen, Boots now has what? I think he has 3 belts because I think he has the ring as well. We know he got the ring belt as well. Boots walking around with 3 belts right now, 27 years old. He got 2 more to get. 2 more to get, folks. Put him at undisputed. Boots is on track and doing well. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Brian Norman ran into the right situation, and Brian Norman was able to do what he done. And I really do like Junior, man, because I like his dad a lot, man. His dad is a real respectful guy. But just because I like somebody, I can't lie about what I see. I'm not going to come up here and tell you that Brian Norman Jr. is better than Boots because I like Brian Norman Sr. I don't see that. I don't see it, and I'd be fake if I said that. I think, right, you know what I'm saying, that Brian, I'll say this. I believe that Brian Norman Jr. could beat Stanionis. You know what I'm saying? I believe he could. I believe that he beats Barrios easily. You know what I'm saying? But that's where it stops at. That's where the buck stops at, folks. It stops right there. He don't get past Boots. You know what I'm saying? Once Boots does get those belts, what do y'all want to see with Boots next? Once he is able to wrap up the division, I want to see him and Vergil Ortiz. I don't want that fight to go past. In the next 3 fights, if Boots is able to get those belts, you know what I'm saying, in a row, I want him to go up to 154 because people have been talking about he ducked Vergil Ortiz, and he ain't ducked Vergil. Boots just on a mission. He didn't want to go up. When you're a guy like that, man, and you're already big at your weight class, and you try to go up to 154 and come back down, that's going to be rough on your body. And it doesn't make sense. It wouldn't have made sense for Boots to go up to 154, fight Virgil, then try to come back down to 147. No, when I get to 154, I'm at 154. I'm not moving past 154. So I think that's what the real issue was, and I think everybody knows that. For a long time, Virgil Ortiz and his team said it was going to take them 4 years before they was ready for Boots. His team said that. So I guess people want to tend to forget that Boots could have been fought at 147. It wasn't Boots' fault. Boots didn't say he needed 4 years. Virgil team said they needed. My brother said, Crush the Legend said, Boots' body work and combination was too much with Stanionis' problems. Hey, man. But Crush, this is what I want to know, Crush. How do you see that fight? I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, I like Brian Norman Jr. Great young man. I like the father. But I think Boots is too much for anybody at 147, Crush. I just don't understand, you know what I'm saying, what it is. I don't know what he can do. I don't know what anybody at 147 can do to beat Boots. The kid, or the young man, I'm calling him a kid, the young man seems to have it all. I mean, there ain't nothing he can't do in the ring, man. You know what I'm saying? He can switch in the ring. Southpaw, man, he's good either way. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Phenomenal footwork, move, great jab, great chin, body work phenomenal. Somebody tell me what he don't get. Somebody got to tell me what they see. Are there any holes? Does he sometimes, you know what I'm saying, maybe he lets out the gas or gets a little, like, loses focus sometimes because it's so easy and he gets caught with some free shots he shouldn't get caught with. But I'm going to tell people this too. When you're fighting against other elite fighters, expect to be hit. I don't know why it is. People think when you're in the ring with another elite fighter, unless you're doing a Shakur Stevenson and jumping back 3 feet, you're going to get hit. There ain't no way around it. Shakur Stevenson, the only fighter I know, because of the way he tends to use his defense, doesn't get hit a lot. But when you're in there with other competition, it's a good chance you might catch one across the jaw, across the forehead. You're going to take a punch, man. And it's okay. Your chin, when you are an elite fighter, you're supposed to have an elite chin. It all goes together. We seen, man, the Amir Khans of the world, they could fight, but didn't have an elite chin. So at any moment, no matter how good he was doing, you knew one shot could change the whole course of a fight. That ain't going to happen with Boots. So when you can't take him out because he got that great chin and that chin is granted, what do? How do you beat him? I ain't seen no answers for this man. I believe now, you know what I'm saying, that he should be in the top 10. He's in my top 10 right now on the pound-for-pound list. I'm putting him in there. He has now reached that level. He's already been a top 10 fighter to me. But I had to wait on him to do something so people couldn't say I was talking crazy. I had to wait for him to have his moment so people can say, all right, okay, I can see that, even though I already had him there. Now I can justify saying why Jaron Boots Henderson is in my top 10. Because this whole time people have been saying, oh, he ain't fought that guy. Stanionis is that guy. He ain't had a real test yet. Well, he had a test, folks. He had a test. And guess what? He was the first one done with the test and made 100 on it. He scored 100 last night on his test, folks. That's how good that test was, that performance was last night for me. A+, phenomenal. So no matter what nobody say, you know what I'm saying? You can go back to the drawing board. You know what I'm saying? Pick your mans up, as they like to say. Pick your mans up, because that's what it was last night. Stanionis, somebody go pick their mans up, because it didn't roll well. But shout out to Stanionis, because what he did do was get in the ring and he wasn't scared, and he stood like a man. So I have nothing but respect for him, because Boots has been trying to get these people in the ring for a long time, and Stanionis answered the call, and he answered fast. The rest of you guys now, it's your turn. Eddie Hearn them go to Brian Norman Jr. folks with $2.5 million, and they don't take it. It's ducking. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what they say. Well, they could have got more money. You just made $150,000 your last fight. This is what you made. If they offer $2.5 million and you don't take it, you are ducking. And people not gonna want to hear that. He ain't gonna get $2.5 million fighting nobody else. He can't fight nobody else. I don't care what he say and get that type of money. He can't fight Barrios and get that money. He can't fight Stanionis and get that money. And this is another thing. Boots sells out in Philadelphia. He sells out in Atlantic City. In order for you to get $2.5 million, you're gonna have to fight that man either in Philadelphia or Atlantic City, because that's gonna generate money. And that's what Eddie Hearn is trying to tell you. You want a big payday, but you don't understand how the payday works. You don't understand that, okay, if you want that type of money, Boots is the name, and he gonna sell at home and he gonna sell close to home. We can get that money for you. But you're gonna have to take a risk. You're gonna have to come that way and fight that man. And that's just how it works, folks. That's how it works. You can't be asking for that type of money thinking you're gonna go somewhere where it might not sell out and get that type of money. But if you believe in who you are and you're confident in your skill level and everything else, it don't matter where you fight. All that matters is that you fight. And you will get paid well. And I believe, you know what I'm saying, that fight, if Brian Norman and Boots fight, you know, it could possibly happen in Vegas. Don't get me wrong. But I see it happening where it was last night or even in Philly. And I think they'll get the money they're looking for. But you got to compromise, folks. You got to be willing to understand that sometimes you have to give a little to get a whole lot. Because that's basically what you're doing. All you're doing is giving up location. But you're gaining, you're becoming a millionaire. You are becoming a millionaire. Once you step in the ring, Brian Norman Sr. said he wants his son to become a millionaire. Well, if you want to become a millionaire, you can do it the long way by you can keep on going over and getting 150,000 here, 100,000 there. Or you can say, we're going to skip all that. We're going to take this 2.5 million right here with Boots. And instantly, after paying taxes and everything else, you still have you $1 million in the bank. There will still be a millionaire. That was the goal. That's what they said. I heard them say that I didn't let him fight because it wasn't going to make him a millionaire. And I still can't comprehend that because you still let him fight for $150,000. See, people be listening to what they want to listen to, and people don't never want to tell. What's good with you, my brother? People don't want to tell the truth. People hate telling the truth. $150,000 or $2 million. I take $2 million every day of the week before I take $150,000. And you ain't beating yourself out of nothing when you ain't never made it. If you never made $2 million or nowhere close to it, you are not beating yourself and you're not selling yourself short. You are taking a nice payday. But I do believe now Brian Norman Jr. gets 2.5. I can see him getting 2.5, maybe even 3. I might be stretching it. But the money they want is going to be there. But like I said, he's going to have to compromise. He's going to have to come to Philadelphia, or he's going to have to go to where they was at last night, Atlantic City, wherever they was at, because that's where Boots sells at. And Boots sells out every time, 10,000 strong last night. They're going to need to generate that type of money to pay both of you guys. Because I don't think the pay-per-view numbers are going to do great. I'm not going to lie. I think I heard my brother Crush say last night, I think it was 90,000, Crush might have said, and I was listening and I had 90,000 to 100,000 in my head, maybe even less than that. We know how this goes with these pay-per-view numbers these days, folks. People are not selling out no more. It is crucial for the fight to be sold out, you know what I'm saying, in the arena, because it don't sell out on TV no more. There's too many streaming, there's too much stealing, too much piracy act, everything is going on where people can't get. You know what I'm saying? A fight that actually makes, say it sells 90,000 pay-per-view buys. It probably actually done 1 million. It probably 1 million people that stole that fight if it does that type of number. And that's crazy to say, but that's what's going on. And it's going to continue to go like that. I don't know how they're going to get around it. I don't know what they do about it. But I definitely want to see, you know what I'm saying, something done about this situation. Because I want these fighters to get their money. I want them to be able to know if they go in there and fight, the pay-per-view buyers will be there. And that is going to make it a whole lot better. But one thing about Boots, like I said, if he fights, I think he'll take a little pay cut because he wants the belts. This is about legacy for Boots. It's really about legacy. And at first I thought it was a bad move. I ain't going to lie. I was wrong going over there with Eddie Hearn. But I should have known Eddie Hearn will make things happen, man. Eddie Hearn going to make these fights. Now, we see, I don't know what's going on with Shakur Stevenson with him coming out saying F Turkey Al-Sheikh. I think that was a bad move, but at the same time, Shakur Stevenson is a man. That's how he feel. That's how he feel. I don't care who you is. If I feel that way, I don't care how much money you get. If you want to stand on business, stand on business. And Shakur said F Turkey Al-Sheikh. Excuse me one second. Come out here. Yeah, Turkey stood on business. You understand what I'm saying? And that's all I wanted to see. Y'all excuse me, my son was flicking the lights back and forth. Y'all couldn't see him, but he was doing that. So, you know, at the end of the day, man, we had a phenomenal fight last night. We also got to see a few other fights. I forgot Raymond Ford. Raymond Ford, before I go, man, he went up to 130 pounds. I don't know what y'all thought about how he looked. You know what I'm saying? I seen some of the fight and I didn't see some of it. Raymond Ford to me has always been an excellent fighter. I like what he's been doing. I like him. I'm ready to see what he does at 130 pounds. There are some great fights there for him, and we're gonna see how it plays out. I'm going to take my son to the mall, have a little fun, maybe go grab a little something to eat. So I'm finna get out of here. But I will be back later on with my brothers. Salute, man. Y'all have a great day. May God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay safe out there. This CDK Sports Talk Network. I'm out.